This heinous assault was an act of evil, an act of hatred, and an act of terror. It was a crime against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price. We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country.
That was President Trump reacting to the tragic shooting of 2 National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. Wednesday, as he moves to suspend all visas, all the requests from Afghani migrants. The alleged shooter, an Afghan national who entered the U.S. after the botched Kabul withdrawal. The suspect's charges now upgraded to first-degree murder just minutes ago. Also this morning, the president announcing his administration will permanently pause migration from all third world countries and remove anyone who is, quote, not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country. Joining me now is Sheriff and retired Border Patrol agent Thaddeus Cleveland. Sheriff, thank you so much for being here this morning. You've had to encounter many, many difficult situations based on where you're located. Your reaction to what has happened in Washington, D.C.?
Hey, good morning, Jackie. Great to be on with you. And look, first and foremost, of course, you know, we have to keep those family members of both soldiers, Beckstrom and Wolf, in our thoughts and prayers. As you mentioned, down here on the U.S.-Mexico border, we've seen a lot of death, unfortunately, not in the same circumstances, but regardless, you don't want to see anybody die, and it's just horrible. But you know, with that message that the President Trump out, he's our executive officer. He has every right to put forth that ban on people coming in from those countries, and hopefully it's not challenged, which I'm sure it will be by you know, judges from the left that they're trying to create a judicial dictatorship.
How do you feel about the rhetoric on the left when they're talking about the National Guard or they're talking about ICE agents and they're demonizing them and they're urging people to, I mean, in so many words, act violently, and we see that being carried out now. You know, these are the men and women of our country that are tasked with protecting us, and they're just trying to do their jobs.
You know, Jackie, and again, we have politicians at all levels of government, whether it's at the federal, state, and even down in the local level, that are normalizing the hate and the violence against, whether, of course, what we just saw in Washington, D.C., and what's continuing to go on with ICE and Border Patrol agents in the interior of the United States that are executing these immigration operations. Look, Border Patrol agents, ICE agents, we have the authority from the Immigration Nationality Act to go out and enforce the immigration law, and that's exactly what's going on. Unfortunately, what we've seen is in the past, the Biden administration enacting policies that contradict the law. So we're getting back to law and order, and we're going to continue to see these things happen and go on.
Speaking of law and order, Border Patrol agents now heading to New Orleans after Operation Charlotte's Web in North Carolina, where more than 250 arrests were made. DHS reporting roughly 70% of illegals arrested by ICE are criminals or have some pending charges in the U.S. Sheriff, your reaction to this?
Well, of course, you know, we see that number right there, 70% are criminal aliens. But we have to remember, crossing the U.S.-Mexico border, which over 160 countries have exploited for years, that's a law or a crime in itself. So essentially, they're all criminal aliens. But again, the executive officer, President Trump, is making that a priority, just like he made the U.S.-Mexico border a priority, and we've seen much improvement here. But I must say that if we don't secure that border, having these interior operations is futile. We've got to make sure we keep our foot on the gas here on the U.S.-Mexico border and keep it secure. And
I want to get your take on this because U.S. Border Customs and Border Protection seizing over $10 million worth of illegal methamphetamine during an encounter at a Texas border crossing. Agents discovering the shipment weighed more than 1,100 pounds. Sheriff, please tell us more about this.
You know, so Jackie, look, that still first and foremost shows that our borders aren't completely shut off. We still have people trying to cross the border illegally. We still have drugs trying to come through, whether it's, the Democrats will say it comes through the ports. The Republicans will say in between the ports. Regardless, they're both right. It's coming through our porous U.S.-Mexico border, and we have to ensure, as I mentioned earlier, keep our foot on the gas and make sure we keep that border safe and secure, and continue to add, whether it's men and women on the border, the infrastructure, which is defense, and then, of course, technology that assists us in doing our jobs.
Sir, we thank you for all the hard work you do. Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland, have a great weekend.
Thank you, Jackie. God bless you.
We'll be right back.